Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it if you jump on here live here on this Tuesday evening. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure you give the video a like, a thumbs up, and if you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. I've mentioned this one or two times already. Hey there, Austin. Thanks for jumping on tonight. But I'll mention it again and try to mention it again and again and again up until the point that we go. But my wife and kids and I are planning on, hey there, Kevron, glad to have you here, going to Pigeon Forge for a vacation coming up at the end of the month, going into the month of April, because that is when the kids are out for spring break this year. Spring break changes every year. This year it's the end of March on into April. We have not been to Pigeon Forge in almost 4 years, and that's why you have not seen any videos in Pigeon Forge, because we have not been. We are planning on going later on this month into April, and if we do, like always, we'll try to do one or two videos about a shop or a restaurant or a motel or something, just to have something different on the channel. I know it's been a while since I've had my family on here, because I'm really the only one that cares about sports. So when I just do sports videos, they're not going to be in the video. But when we go on vacation and we do things as a family, they're in the videos. I'm going to talk wrestling here in just a couple of minutes, Austin. So if you've been to Pigeon Forge and you have any ideas for us, please feel free to let me know. I told my wife yesterday that, there's a couple of restaurants that every time we go to Pigeon Forge, we eat there. If we could go to Pigeon Forge 5 times a year, we'd go to those restaurants all 5 times. But then outside of those couple of restaurants, we try to go somewhere different every time we go. That way we're not eating at the same restaurants every single day. But there's a couple of restaurants that we feel like every time we go to Pigeon Forge, we have to go there, because if we don't, we're going to come back home and say, dang, we didn't go there. So we'll go there, but outside of those couple of restaurants, we'll go somewhere different as well. But if there's any place that we have not been to, that you have been to, please feel free to let me know if you've been there, and we'll try our best to at least swing by there. I know a couple of years ago we went, and somebody mentioned us trying one of the ice cream shops up there, because there's about 500 ice cream shops there. But sure enough, we went to the one they mentioned. So we do, believe it or not, take ideas and suggestions. But we have not been anywhere for vacation since we went to Pigeon Forge almost 4 years ago. So it's time for a family getaway. Even if it's for a day or two, it's time to go somewhere. But tonight, my main topic is AEW, because Sunday night was Revolution, and it was from the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, and it was on pay-per-view, and for the first time it was on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you were able to watch Revolution without having to buy it on pay-per-view. Hey there, Supreme Boy. But I wanted to talk about it last night, but I know not everybody watches pay-per-views live, so I wanted to give everybody an extra 24 hours to watch it. 12 matches altogether. You subscribed. Thank you so much, Supreme Boy. I greatly appreciate that. Every time the channel starts to grow, we lose 2 or 3 subscribers, so it's always good to get some new ones. Hey there, Singer. Glad to have you here. You are watching from India. Well, I'm glad you are watching all the way from India, and I'm doing absolutely fantastic. No such thing as a bad day, just bad moments. And we let bad moments make bad days. If I have to pick one, Evan, I'll pick the second one. 12 matches counting the pre-show. 3 matches on the pre-show and 9 on the main card. On the pre-show, we had Commander and Hologram beat Lee Johnson and Blake. Christian, Daniel Garcia, and the Undisputed Kingdom beat Shane Taylor along with Shane Taylor Promotions. Big Boom AJ and the Conglomeration beat Johnny TV and the Eminem Collection. Hey there, Walnuts of Pleasure. Glad to have you here. And as always, those pre-show matches really didn't mean a hill of beans. Tony Khan just likes to take a bunch of nothing matches that mean nothing and put them on the pre-show just to give as many guys as possible a chance to get on the pre-show. And then on the main card, we had 9 matches. Hangman Adam Page defeated MJF. Mercedes Moné beat Momo Watanabe to retain the TBS Championship. Swerve Strickland beat Ricochet to become the #1 contender for the AEW World title. You haven't seen a football match your entire life. Now, Walnuts of Pleasure, I'm not sure where you are, so I'm not sure if you're actually calling football or if you're calling soccer football. But either way, if you have not seen one your entire life, you should definitely watch both just to make sure you've watched football, and soccer football. Kazuchika Okada beat Brody King for the Continental Championship. The Hurt Syndicate beat the Outrunners for the Tag Team Championship. Timeless Tony Storm beat Mariah May in a Falls Count Anywhere match for the AEW Women's World Championship. I think that's the end of that feud, and it needs to be the end of that feud. It's been a phenomenal feud, but I kind of don't understand what was the point of it because, a few months back, Tony Storm announced she was retiring, and then she was gone for maybe a month, and then came right back and went right back to being Timeless Tony Storm. So none of that made any sense whatsoever. But then again, it's AEW, so nothing they do makes sense. Hey there, Randy. Glad to have you here. Cool Boy. Glad to have you here. And Randy is a Gators fan, so I'm glad to have you here no matter who your team is. Hey there, Sonny. Glad to have you here. And Extro Biley, if that's how you say your name. If not, I apologize. I guess you should ask somebody in your neck of the woods, somebody close to you. That's a subject I won't get into. And Austin, I'm going to comment some more on AEW when I finish running down the matches from Sunday night. Hey there, CJ. Glad to have you here. Kenny Omega beat Konosuke Takeshita for the International Championship. Will Ospreay beat Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match in the semi-main event. And in the main event, John Moxley ended up defeating Cope and Christian Cage by technical submission for the AEW World Championship. That was Christian Cage's Casino Gauntlet cash-in match. Hey there, Maria. Glad to have you here, Maria. I believe this is the first time I have seen your name in the comment section. So if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And wherever you are, tell your friends, tell your family about the channel. I talk wrestling, NASCAR, college football, the NFL, college basketball, the NBA, college baseball, Major League Baseball, and I do top 10 countdowns that sometimes may not have anything at all to do with any kind of sport. So there's something for everybody here on the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate it. And Izaz, thank you for watching all the way from India. I really appreciate it. But back to Austin's question earlier, and I've said this numerous times about AEW, and I've always said this is what holds them back. And if Tony Khan would listen, the company would grow, but he's hard headed and don't listen. If you just like wrestling matches just for the sake of wrestling matches, then there's no doubt AEW is the best that you're going to see. Top to bottom, their wrestling is the best. It's very, very rare that you watch an AEW pay-per-view or a TV show where the match just sucks. Now, occasionally you get one where it seems like the people in the ring just don't have good chemistry, don't have good timing, and it might be a B minus or a C plus match. But it's very rare that you watch a match on pay-per-view or TV and say, boy, that match sucked. Unless it's, a squash match that ends in 2 minutes and the purpose of that match is to suck and make one guy look good. But just as far as just a basic one-on-one match or tag team match, all their matches are great. And my favorite superstar in WWE, if you're talking modern day, it's Randy Orton. He is the best wrestler of all time. But the problem with AEW is, just like the Tony Storm Mariah match, the match itself was phenomenal. Their whole feud's been phenomenal. It just hasn't made any sense. Tony Storm retires right in the middle of it and comes right back and then goes right back to the same character, and the feud keeps going. What was the whole point of retiring in the first place? You could at least come back as either one of your old characters or a brand new character, but to stay gone for maybe a month and then come right back and then go right back to the same character is completely pointless. But that's AEW's problem. The matches are great, but it's like a movie with no plot. So you scratch your head all the time thinking, what's this match for? What's this match mean? Because you don't know. So if you just want to watch wrestling for the sake of wrestling, then AEW is the best. But that's only if you like wrestling matches that have no plot and have no storyline. And unless you like movies that have no plot and have no storyline, then more than likely you don't like that. But the AEW people that like it just for the wrestling, and the wrestling is phenomenal. It's great. But it has to make sense. And that's been their problem now for probably the better part of 2.5, 3 years, is that nothing they do makes sense. Every time they start something, they stop it right in the middle of it. And if they could just find somebody to book something that makes sense, the company has a big chance to flourish. But that hasn't happened yet, and I don't think it will. And Boogle, if your wife told you she's going to leave if you buy another pay-per-view, I would think about, depending on how much you love her, either saying, I won't buy another one, or I would say, I'm going to miss her. But hopefully, wrestling won't ruin your marriage. But we don't have that problem around here because my wife and I both love wrestling. But because of 6-year-old twin boys, we don't get to sit back and watch it all the time because everything they see, they want to do. So turn it on in front of them, and within 2 minutes, they're doing and saying everything that they see. But there was a rumor I saw a couple of weeks ago, and it's hard to believe that it's not true. Now, of course, I'm not an insider, so I have no knowledge and can't prove that it's true. But if you keep up with AEW and just watch, it's hard to believe that it's not true. Hey there, Bert. Glad to have you here. But the article that I read said that, Shane McMahon was going to AEW and he just wanted to buy some stock in the company and basically, for the most part, just help book the show because he sees all the talent they have and knows that if they can book it right, the company has a chance to flourish. So he had a meeting with Tony Khan and just wanted to buy some stock in the company and just help Tony Khan book the show or shows because there's so many of them. And Tony Khan ghosted him and never got back in contact with him. And as I said, it's hard to believe that it's not true. And yes, Austin, they do go to our wrestling show, but believe it or not, at the show, they sit in the crowd and watch, and they're very still. But at home on the couch, they're not still. But in person, they're still. And my daughter is still as well, but my daughter don't care to watch it at home. If she ain't there in person, she ain't watching it. And it's hard to believe it's not true because if you remember, you know, Shane McMahon was there. He was on TV, and everybody had a fit. It's like, oh my gosh, Shane McMahon's coming to AEW. What are we going to do? It's going to be great. And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, he's gone. So it's hard to believe that it's not true because otherwise, why did he just vanish? And he vanished, and there was never again any mention of Shane McMahon. I don't think he just showed up just to be on TV. Shane's not like his dad. He's not a spotlight hog. If he was, he would go to WWE. So the fact that he went to AEW and showed up and was shown on TV tells me there was something to it and something had to have happened. So either Tony Khan did ghost him or Tony Khan actually contacted him and said, well, thank you for your offer, but I'm not interested, because there was a reason why Shane McMahon was there. And of course, when it happened, there was 19,000 articles that came out about what all Shane was going to do. And I didn't believe any of that when he was there, because every wrestling writer is going to write an article about wrestling, just like football writers are going to write football articles. So at the time when Shane was shown on TV, I didn't read or believe anything that was written. But then as time's gone by, I've wondered what happened. So when I saw that article a couple weeks ago, I thought, that makes sense, because multiple people have tried to help Tony Khan book, and he just says, no, I've got this. And that's why their booking has never gotten any better. So I kind of believe that story. Now, I don't know if it's true that Tony Khan did ghost him, or if it's true that Tony Khan actually, did contact him and say, no, thanks for your offer, but I'm good. I'm more inclined to believe Tony Khan ghosted him because of the fact that I've read numerous articles and heard from numerous wrestlers over the years that say Tony Khan is just a super nice guy and can't tell anybody no. So the fact that Tony Khan can't tell anybody no leads me to believe that he didn't tell Shane McMahon no. He probably shook his hand and said, talk to you later. And then that was it. Austin, you have to get on Google and type up Shane McMahon AEW, because I don't know exactly the dates of when it was, but I would say it was probably, I don't know, November. That sounds about right, because it's been a few months now, so I say October, November. That's just a guess, something like that. But he was there. He never wrestled, but you could see him a few times on the internet after shows or during shows talking to Tony Khan backstage, things like that. But he never wrestled, never did no promo in the middle of the ring, nothing like that. It was always before the show or after the show or during the show backstage. He never interrupted no TV show. Shane wouldn't do that. He's not his daddy. But any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. When you order stuff south of the U.S. border, you don't pay so much. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family how much you love them.